Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This week I wanted to bring you an unbagging, a few unbaggings to come actually, from some games from my friends at Snafu in Spain. I'd like to thank Oliver for sorting out my order that I put in and sending a review copy of this game, and also another game which I will be giving away to a lucky subscriber in a competition to be announced in due course. So the first game I wanted to share with you was an unbagging of a new series from the Snafu design team. This one is in the PocketBattles series, so you will remember I have unboxed and reviewed some of the Small Battles series previously, which I've really enjoyed. I think that these are great little games, and they've gone one step further now with a Pocket Battle series, which, as you can see, is an even smaller footprint. To give you an example, this is one of their other Small Battles games versus the Pocket Battle game. So for me, this looks like an excellent potential travel game. Something you can get out for a very small footprint, excellent price point as well. So I'd just like to thank Oliver. This is a review copy that he's kindly sent me, and I just wanted to share this one with you. I'm going to try and pronounce it correctly. Berestechko 1651, The Fate of the Zaporozhian Cossacks. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. But from the history, it looks like it's the Cossacks and the Tartars versus the Polish forces. This is a game by Krzysztof Dijak. Apologies again if I've got that wrong. As I say, this is one of two, I believe, that have already been published in this series. So, really nice artwork. You can see there, very nice statue. I'd actually like to see that in real life. It's very impressive. Little bit about the history, and the only thing you don't get in the game is dice. And unusually for this one, you ideally need some 6, 8 and 10-sided dice. So that's an interesting change in terms of the way this works. The author, the artwork, development by the usual sort of people that have been involved in the Snafu design team. So Mark, Oscar and Ivan played a number of their games. As I say, big fan. This is a 2-player low complexity game played in about an hour, and unit scale are banners. Very appropriate for this period, but as you can see, really nice initial production value. So let's get it out. You'll probably have fun watching me try to do this now. I've already got this out once just to have a little look, and it is quite a tight bag, to say the least. So this may or may not go very well, depending on there we go, we've got it out. So the front page is just a cover sheet, but it actually turns into the player aid for the Polish player. Now, these are really nice because, again, they're small, but as you can see there, you've got your setup and activation counters. It's really nicely, clearly marked out. I'll go into what all these different things mean in a moment. Reorganization track, coordination track, and then just some nice artwork at the bottom. May well be where you put units and things like that, but like that, really good. And I know, I think at the back, yep, we've got the back sheet turns into the player aid for the Cossack Tatar player. Again, very much set out in a similar vein. Interestingly, this one has a Tatar morale track, which the Polish one didn't have, along with reorganization, coordination, etc. So obviously some slightly different things going on there. So that looks interesting. Counter density is low. It's literally half a sheet of counters. you probably look, if you've watched any of my other reviews of Snafu games, this is my only very small slight niggle, but I totally understand from a price point of view why the counters are one sort of standard, sort of quite small size, and two, they're okay. They're average quality, I would say. They're not premium, but they're certainly not low quality. But what I do like about these is very clear, specific colorings for the various sides involved. So you're not going to find it tricky to see what's going on the map. But there is quite a lot going on each counter, and you can see on the reverse there's still quite a lot going on each counter. But we'll come back to these examples in the rule book in terms of what these different things mean and how they operate. You'll see, for example, here you've got two of the same unit. So this one here is a full strength, and this is representing one of the slightly more disorganized versions of that. And on the reverse, if we go over here, you'll see again slightly different on there as well. But again, we'll come back to that in a moment. So that's the counters. Again, for the price point, perfectly adequate for this style of game. This style of game reminds me a little bit of the decision games, bagged portfolio games that they offer, although I would personally say these look a better quality product in terms of production values. So I like the fact you're still getting a combat reference sheet with all your necessary bits on there. You've got your bits on the back explaining units, terrain, victory conditions. Really good for a small footprint game to get these kind of things included. So as you can see there, it starts to explain what things mean. So you have activation numbers, which are these ones, resistance numbers, and the type of dice that the unit uses. And then you've got the number of dice rolled in attack and in defense. And then it's showing you the various versions and where they've got one activation left or no activations left or at full. In this case, this one's a disorganized one. But hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea what's going on there. So that's really interesting. We've got wagons. So that's an interesting little thing. The tabor are included in the defensive side of things, I believe, for the Cossacks. So that's quite interesting. So there's some really different historical chrome in here that I really like. I'm going to come to the rules last thing. Again, nice little pamphlet, nothing too heavy there. 15 pages. We'll come on to that. Let's show you the map, which is small as you would expect in a game like this. It's just a paper map. It lays flat. You could put it under plexi. Probably I would just put it in a clear plastic sleeve or something equivalent. I think that would be sufficient. There's a few things going on the map. It's generally quite open, other than in the town of Berestechko itself, where you've got some things going on here, side of the river, and you've got some woodland areas down here, and at the top you've also got some marshland as well. Quite cleverly, they've got the game turn marker will be up there, so you'll be able to see a glance where you are. Yeah, it's quite cleverly done. Superimposed hexes, and then it just sort of, as I say, not a massive footprint. If you put that in with the booklet, or if you indeed put it in with one of the other games, you can see it's probably about A4 size, the map, so not big, and therefore very easy to take away with you, or just set up at the end of an evening as a little bit of a filler. But with lots of historical flavour. So finally, the rules. As I said, 15 pages, really nice booklet, really nicely set out. What I like again is the font set is nice, it's big, good size, easy to follow, a little bit of history, components, a bit about the map, talks a bit about the units, full colour, very clear, easy to understand. Some really nice elements in there. And I like the activation situation here. So you've got different dice being used depending on the quality of the unit, and volumes of those dice depending on the quality of the units. You've got a setup, player aid sheets, and then you're getting into the play turn and how that works with impulses. The game actually only plays over 2 turns, but you will have multiple impulses during those turns. So again, it should be a relatively quick game that you can fit in either several times in an evening or at the beginning or end of an evening's play with something else. Examples of play like that, again, very clear, very easy to understand. You can see this has been play tested, thought about in terms of the way that things have been set out, quite like that as well. Again, for the combat, you've got that example of play, a bit about the morale, victory conditions, and then you've got examples of 2 successive impulses, just to sort of, again, give you a bit of a flavour on how all of that comes together. So when you strip out both that end part and the beginning, you're probably looking about 10 pages. And remember, these are small to start with, these pages, so it's not a big rule set, but lots of, I would say, chrome in there. Interesting, something different again. This is one of the things I do like about the Snafu design team. They come up with slightly more obscure, unusual periods of history, things that are often forgotten about, and I love their hashtag, lest we forget. I think that's very appropriate for the style of games that they design and bring out to the public. These are often things that are being forgotten in history, and hopefully this is rekindling some interest from gamers around the world, war gamers to get out there and try it on a tabletop, or board gamers as well. But that's Berestechko 1651, another game from the Snafu design team. This one, as I say, part of their PocketBattles series, and I hope you've enjoyed this little insight. I'm hoping to get this one on the table and then report back how I found it in due course. But for now, hope you've enjoyed this video, and look out for some more unbaggings of Snafu's games, including the Equatorial Clash, which is the Ecuadorian-Peruvian War, 5th to the 31st of July 1941. Another one of the Small Battle series. And also Nothing Left to Bomb, The Skies Over Malta, 1940 to 1942. Again, another one of the Small Battle series. Yeah, look forward to seeing you all again soon. If you haven't subscribed, please join the community, and please feel free to post comments in the boxes as usual. Thanks for watching.